We still cold call now, but it is not nearly as effective as postcards. Postcards are they just are the golden nugget for our business. And I don't really care to change that. I'm going to keep doing that until it is no longer effective. I'm going to continue to do direct mail. It still works really well. But I've heard other people that'll go out and get, they'll drive around and they'll identify 10 properties and they'll literally handwrite a letter to each. I've never done that, but I know that there's some people that do that and it's wildly successful.
Yes.
But again, direct mail, which is still very alive and well.
The DealMachine REI Podcast. Everything you need to know to get started in real estate investing.
So what would you say on average you spend on direct mail per deal?
I mean, I think our all-in on every deal is probably around that $250 to $300.
No way, dude. No way. Are you serious?
Yeah, I mean, everything that we're still generating all of our leads through. Deal. I could send you my call rail results from the week. Every lead that we are getting is brought to us either by postcards, by our relationship with the city officials. I'm not paying big money for anything. Now I send a ton of postcards. It's not 250 postcards anymore. I think my marketing budget was like $6,000 last month, but I'm bringing $90,000 to $100,000 in a month off of what I'm spending in marketing.
A huge advantage of driving for dollars, looking for distressed properties, is because of the low cost. It's a list that's not easy to get because it takes your time to drive around or somebody else on your team's time to drive around. And you create this list of distressed properties that nobody else has. Yep. Now, if you grab the water shutoff list, everybody might be grabbing that. It's easy to get. And so you spend more money on mail to reach owners to find somebody that wants to do a deal. So you've been able to scale your business quite nicely by using driving for dollars, which is amazing. That you're spending $6,000 a month on marketing in order to bring in assignment fees worth of $90,000.
Yep.
That's truly amazing.
That's what keeps you going, man. When you do stuff like that, for me, I'm driven by that. The thrill of the sale is what motivates me.
The one thing that I was curious about is why did you pick direct mail rather than cold calling or door knocking or any of those other strategies?
Well, I wish I had like a really cool story behind that, but it was literally because that was what was on the 30-day wholesaling challenge. You're going to go and drive for dollars. Now, cold calling came in later. Like cold calling came in when we were looking for buyers, and even like taking those deals that you added driving for dollars and cold calling them, that came in later in the program. So I would still say cold calling was a part. And we still cold call now, but it is not nearly as effective as postcards. Postcards are they are the golden nugget for our business, and I don't really care to change that. I'm going to keep doing that until it is no longer effective. I'm going to continue to do direct mail. It still works really well.
A huge reason that I like direct mail is because cold calling doesn't give me energy. And I've never heard anyone talk about this, but I've always felt it, is that cold calling, it does require you to get out of your comfort zone. And I'm not somebody that likes to be told no. Mm-hmm. That's just a plain fact about me. And when you're cold calling, you get a lot of no's. But when you send direct mail, people who call you back are typically people who are interested. You may get the occasional take me off your list, but most people, if they're thinking no, they're just not going to call you. And that just is something amazing for me. It frees up my energy to be thinking about analyzing deals and other things. And so that's why I personally like direct mails, because all I have to do is drive around, press a button, know that that's sent out and it's going to auto repeat, and then take the calls from whoever calls me back.
You know what else is something that we practice as a team is when we're out driving for dollars, sometimes there's deals that I'm just like, I want to call them right now. I'm sitting in front of their house.
Well, that's good. That means you have energy.
Right. So we will sit there and we'll skip trace it. I'll find this house, skip trace it, call it. Sometimes they answer and I'm like, hey, I'm sitting in front of a house at 123 Main Street. Is this your property? Yes. are you interested in selling it? I've buying properties in this neighborhood. Dude, that has worked. That has worked so many times that I'm like, I've always kind of felt like there's an algorithm hidden in DealMachine that knows that you're parked in front of them and gives you better results skip tracing. Because I'm like, this works so many times.
You'll never know.
Yes,
and for those who don't know, skip tracing means you're just getting the owner's phone number. And so you can call them. And it comes with their email as well. It's a term that came from court. When you would skip your court date back in the day, a private investigator would go figure out where did that skipper go? And they would do research to find their phone number, email, and track them down. So that's where the term skip tracing comes from. And Ryan, I just loved hearing your story about calling right in front, but I know your business is primarily focused using direct mail. So let's dive into it.
Okay, so direct mail is the act of sending mail directly to an individual.
So if you've sent a letter to your grandma,
right, that's direct mail. Yeah.
So in the context of real estate investing, tell me about that.
So direct mail in real estate investing is sending a piece of mail directly to a homeowner or to a property that basically introduces yourself and what idea you're presenting. And for us, and for probably most people, it's the idea of selling their home. Mm-hmm. So direct mail in this case would be a postcard or a letter that says, hey, would you be interested in selling your home?
Why don't you turn so the camera can see
like,
that?
Hey, I want to buy your house.
Oh yeah, turn. You got to do a 360. A little bit further. A little bit further. There you go. Lean that way.
Lean my back pop.
It says call me 816-759-2009. Is that your cell phone?
Yeah. No.
It's your line that people could call to get a deal.
Yeah,
or to get to sell their house.
Right.
Yeah.
They want to sell their house. Sometimes people just read the call me and they call.
Yeah.
Which is, you don't know what you're going to get. Mm-hmm. Yesterday, was that today or yesterday? We were in the elevator and my shirt says, I buy houses. Mm-hmm. And a guy was like, you want to buy my house?
Oh yeah, that was today in the service elevator.
Yeah, that was cool. So if you wear shirts and stuff like that, you never know what you're going to get.
Yeah.
But going back to direct mail, I don't even know where we left off.
We talked about direct mail.
The message.
Yeah, is just sending anything through the mail to a person. And then in the context of real estate investing, we talked about your direct mail piece is probably going to say, hey, if you're interested in selling your house, I'd love to give you a cash offer.
Right.
Give me a call or text.
Yeah.
And one thing that's pretty nice to include is the option to call or text, because some people may prefer to talk.
Yeah.
And they don't have a cell phone or they're not comfortable texting. It's really
dependent on demographic too.
Or maybe some people don't want to talk.
Right.
And they would prefer to text.
Yep.
And by giving them the option, then you can be sure they can contact you however they want to contact you.
Easiest way of communication, whatever's easy for them. It could even be email. Mm-hmm. I mean, we still put our email address on every piece.
And email is also a good option to throw on there as an option. Maybe also a website.
Fax number.
Now that's a joke, but the website wasn't a joke.
Okay.
What else could you put on a postcard?
You could put a picture of their property. Mm-hmm. In the event that maybe they don't know, maybe they own multiple houses. And being able to see specifically what property you're referencing is a good piece.
When I first started out, I read this blog. I had never sent any direct mail, but I knew I was going to look for rundown houses and I wanted to get in touch with the owners via direct mail. I read this blog on Bigger Pockets, and it said that putting a photo of the house that you take with your smartphone would actually get a higher response rate. This person had published this article and they'd shown some math. And so from the very beginning, I was like, well, I'm doing all this effort to find these houses. Why don't I do the most that I can do to go ahead and get them to open the letter? So I was taking photos and I was writing down addresses and I was feeling very excited until I sat down and I went backwards and tried to put those together. I felt very frustrated.
Oh, yeah.
Because somehow I had not the same number of photos as I did with the addresses. Mm-hmm. And that was actually a challenge. So not executed well, but I think a good idea is to have the photo.
Well, and even for the people that like to do, it's not been my cup of tea, but I've heard other people that'll go out and get, they'll drive around and they'll identify 10 properties and they'll literally handwrite a letter to each. I've never done that, but I know that there's some people that do that and it's wildly successful.
Yes.
But again, direct mail, which is still very alive and well.
It's never been dead.
It's never been dead.
Thanks for listening to the DealMachine Real Estate Investing Podcast. Please leave us a review and follow along wherever you're listening to your podcast.